si fuera mi último día, voy a luchar por mis sueños, viviendo sin miedo y cada minuto vivirlo intenso. No voy a esperar.
And I just want to say thank you. Out of all my siblings, Dennis was the one I grew up with. I looked up to him. So I ended up being taller than him. He was my first playmate. Dennis didn't play fair all the time, and a lot of you guys know that. He always liked to win. And I used to get upset all the time. I would ask any time of day if he could just play games with me, and of course he never said no. He was kind. I was always the tag-along. Since I can remember my younger years, Dennis had all his friends would come over, they would play kickball, they would play football, they would play baseball. Of course, I wanted to play as well. So one day, I was about 5 years old, they were playing baseball. He gave me this little rubber ball. And I was watching the guys play, so it was Jim Bob, it was Richie, both of them Maldonado and Dennis. And I was watching while they were pitching. And they were, hitting the ball, pitching. So I said, oh, just throw my ball across the street, run after it. At the same time Dennis was pitching. That's when it happened that I got hit. I got the scar the rest of my life. Tell me about it, that I did learn my lesson on that. So Dennis stopped playing. He grabbed me and he took me to the house all bloody. And of course, he was my hero at that time. That was the greatest idea, right? So I have that permanent mark, so yes, I learned my lesson. Several years passed by, I was going to high school. I wanted to take the bus or walk to school, which of course Mommy was not gonna have that, so Dennis was my chauffeur. At the same time, Dennis always liked talking to my friends, so it wasn't a problem of picking up anybody out of my friends, Danielle, Maria, Tiffany, and he would take them home, or if we had games or whatever, or activities, he wouldn't mind taking us. Even in the winter, he was always trying to do his little practical jokes and do the brodies that some people got terrified afterwards. Of course, I loved it. So of course, he was my taxi. There were good times that I will always cherish. This past year, Dennis was getting more depressed, and he had, his foot amputated last year, then it got amputated again this year, then his heart was failed. He was always asking questions, and I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to be his hero. I wanted to be his taxi to a relationship to God. So I started sending him encouraging quotes or Bible verses so that he would read, so that he could get encouraged, hoping that he would read it, because Satan targets our minds, and his weapons are lies. And that's why he was depressed. He was always thinking of the worst instead of what God was telling us, the beauty of things that we needed to hear. I wanted him to fill his mind with God's word. The last day that I spoke to Dennis was last Tuesday. He called me. He said, Gris, I'm in pain. I don't want to move. It hurts so bad. He said, Gris, I'm going home this week. And I said it was okay. He said, Gris, God, I asked God to come into my heart. And I said, yes, finally, you're actually reaching out to God. But I didn't know that when he said he was going home, he was going to him. I just want his kids to know that your father loved you. And if you want to see him, reach to God and ask him into your heart.
long time. Me, Dennis, and Gris go back to my earliest memories when I was 4 years old, and they came to visit. And seeing everybody here that showed up to show respect and love Dennis makes me just really happy, because as Gris said, he was sad. He didn't think anybody loved him, but he was wrong. And I tried telling him that, and we would all try to give him encouraging words, but he was just sad. He was hurting, and he'd suffered enough. And while I do miss my friend dearly, he's not suffering anymore, and that gives me comfort. What can I say about Dennis? That everybody here knows that Dennis's biggest thing was his heart. He would help anybody, and that's no exaggeration. Whether he knew you or not, he was just that type of person. That he would give you, like she said, his last dollar. Dennis and I, we had our ups and downs, but we always remained friends up until the very end. From me picking him up at the airport when he was in a car accident in Connecticut, to me taking him home from the hospital a couple times, because then they had been working or something like that. I always tried to be there. I wasn't always able to be there, but I always tried to be there, especially this last year, because I knew that it wasn't, things weren't well for Dennis. So I tried to do what I could, tried to give him encouragement, and wanted to spend more time with him. There were times when Dennis would pick me up from school when I was skipping school or something, and I'd go hang out at a few houses, James' house being one of them, or Sammy Calderon, maybe at his mom's house or something, or even at Gris's house. And her mom would just lecture me. She wouldn't tell my mom. But then when I would get caught in school, his dad would tell me to get out of school. So, but even though we would have our moments, me and Dennis would, no matter what, even when I got in trouble, Dennis came, picked me up a few times, brought me here to Youngstown, spent time with me, made sure I was okay. And those are things I never forget. And like I said, I may have been an instigator, but I love you guys. Good. Thank you.
Como si fuera mi último día, voy a luchar por mis sueños, viviendo sin miedo, y cada minuto vivirlo intenso. No voy a esperar hasta mañana, que el presente lo tengo. Como si no hubiese tiempo y me quedara un momento. Voy a mostrar que te amo, que estoy contento.